Morning students. So now in this video let's understand cyclone. So it is a system of close rotating winds around a low pressure area. So like so So in this picture, the image which you can see, the picture is actually trying to depict how a cyclone look like. Okay, it is nothing but a winds, but winds are moving with a very high speed, and the winds are moving in rotational motion. They are moving in a rotational motion in a form of a spiral around the center. Okay, and the center is a low pressure area. Okay, so the high speed wind is always high speed wind is always accompanied by low air pressure. So that is the same thing. Things happen at the center. The center is a low pressure area, and around the center these winds are like these are rotating at very high speed, and that is cyclone. So the winds have the strength to cause even more damage. So that's why the cyclone is to be very deadly. So let us look at the formation of cyclone. How is cyclone formed? So before I talk about the process of cyclone formation, let me ask you one simple question. What are clouds? The clouds which you see on the sky, which later result in the rainfall. So the clouds are nothing but a water vapor. Okay, right? So now think of another simple concept. So what is the changes? What do you need? What do you change to the water vapor? So you heat the water. It changes into water vapor. So basically we need to provide heat. So heat is required to be given in order to change water into water vapor. Now what should happen if the reverse is taking place? So if you warm water vapor to get what happen? It is something like if you are giving money, if you are paying money in order to buy a stuff, what should you do in order to sell a thing? So when you want to sell a thing, you are not going to give a money. You are just take money. Okay, so in the similar thing here, some water to water vapor, we need to provide heat. But when we want water vapor to convert into water, that times heat will be released, right? So during cyclone also a similar thing happen. The water vapor, which are nothing but cloud, they get converted into liquid water. Okay, as I said, the thunderstorm is accompanied by rainfall. So the clouds converted into a liquid water. So as per our simple concept that during this conversion, what should happen? Heat should be released. So where is this heat released? This heat is released in the atmosphere. So when this heat is released in the atmosphere, what the heat is doing? The heat will warm up the air in the atmosphere, correct? So when you are releasing heat in the atmosphere, then what happens? And what happens when air gets heated up? When air gets heated up, when air heats up, it expand and they rise up. And as the warm air rises up, what happening? There is a movement of air involved. So that is nothing but wind. So if the warm air is rising up, as a result, the pressure will be decreased. Because whenever there is a movement of air, initially the air was not moving, but now the air is moving. So the wind speed is increased. So it has to be accompanied by decrease in pressure. As per the warm air rises up, a low pressure area is formed. And due to this pressure drop, what happens? So basically now you have a low pressure area at one point, and everyone else it has high pressure area. So all the air from the high pressure area tends to move to the low pressure area. So the more and more air rush towards the low pressure area. So So let's say this is a low pressure area that is created. So air from all the high pressure area try to come to this low pressure area, because I told you the air always move from the region of a high pressure to the region of lower pressure, and as a result more and more cool air will converge towards the center. And what is the center? Center is nothing but the low pressure area that becomes a center. Okay, so all the air start coming in it, and that how it's happen. So okay, this is like this. So when you look at the top, there is a center inside it like a hollow, but it is a low pressure area, and around that low pressure area you have these winds in a spiral fashion, in a rotating fashion they are moving with a very high speed, and this is how a cyclone is formed. So the net result of this entire process is that high speed wind revolve around the low pressure center. So high speed wind revolve around the low pressure center. That's the cyclone. So you understood it's nothing. It is not a special phenomena that happen. It's like a thunderstorm. And so when during the thunderstorm there is a too much of rainfall, the more rainfall means the more conversion of water vapor to liquid water. So more heat is released. More air is a warm water. Okay. And creation of low pressure area is indication of the start of the cyclone. So that's how the cyclone happens. So I hope all of you have understand the concept of cyclone, how it is formed, and also about this. So this is about the formation of cyclone. So now we will study about tornadoes. Okay. It is another such phenomenon which happens, which is not exactly the cyclone, but something of similar, and that is called tornado. So what is tornado? It is a high speed wind, but a little different than a cyclone. So as you can see in a picture, this picture, it's look like a cone. So it is a dark funnel shaped cloud. This is nothing but a cloud, and it is in the shape of a funnel. So you see it's a broad at the top and there is a quite narrow at the bottom. So that's how it is, and its diameter can range from a few meters to a few kilometers. So it can be a smaller or it can be a huge. So they travel at an extremely high speed, and that is how they are capable of causing huge damage. So basically how you have a spinning top, it just spins at the ground. Okay, in a similar way these tornadoes, these are like winds. They are actually clouds, but they have winds which is like moving with a really high speed, and this entire thing, it's an entire funnel shaped cloud which you are seeing here. That entire thing happened from the sky to the ground in a very high speed. And as it comes near the ground, what happens is it constantly rotating as well. So when it comes near the ground, all the dust, dirt, sand, etc., everything enters in this funnel, and everything enter at the bottom part because it's all open. The central is going to be hollow, the same concept as like in cyclone, and they all comes out from the top. So basically wherever you have this tornado, you see a lot of dust at the top of the tornado, and since it is moving with very high speed, all the objects that it encounter, everything it's thrown out from the top. It causes a destruction to any object who encountered. Okay, whether it is a house, whether it is a building, so it can spoil or destroy anything. So I hope you also now you all understand the concept of tornado. So tornado is different from cyclone, but the concept is the same, that there is a hollow shaped place there which is at a low pressure, which is placed at a low pressure, and everything near and the places like here and here, they are at the high pressure wind. Okay, so the low pressure wind accompanied by the high pressure. So Sometimes these tornadoes can form inside a cyclone also, because cyclone is nothing but a low pressure area which is being created and the winds are rotating about it. And what is tornado? It is also like a rotating wind in a shape of a funnel, and then it is actually reaching the ground. Okay, so sometimes the cyclone is also is so huge that inside a cyclone that you also have tornadoes. The tornadoes are not are coming common in India, but it's quite common in another part of world, and it also causes huge destruction. Okay, I hope now you have realized that when the problem arises when the wind blow from in a very high speed. Okay, because high speed wind is also always accompanied by low pressure air pressure. Okay, so the difference in the air pressure causes more and more air to flow, which in turn causes huge destruction, right? Okay, now what you realize is the speed of wind is not the important thing that needs to be controlled. If the speed of the wind is too much, it can cause problem. Now, since these natural phenomena, we really do not have control on them, but what can we do to protect ourselves, to protect our life, our living organisms, our houses, our buildings? What can we do to protect them? One good idea would be to predict when a cyclone can happen, when a tornado can happen. And how can we predict all these situations? We need to have some idea on the speed of wind. So measuring the speed of wind becomes something which is very, very important, because wind speed determines a lot of things. So therefore, when you talk about, is there any way we can measure wind speed? Yes, there is. So there is a device called anemometer, and this device is used to measure wind speed. Anemos is a Greek word which means wind, and that is why device is called anemometer. Okay, so roughly this is how the anemometer looks like. However, there are many different varieties of anemometer and they have different structure, but basically what they do is they have 3 cups which spin in wind. So here you can see these 3 cups, 1, 2 and 3. So it's just like 3 similar structure which are arranged, and it is capable of rotating like this. So they spin as the wind blows. Now as they spin, the wind speed is displayed on LCD display. There is a display. This is a basic structure, so you do not have to display board and all, but when you actually look at the anemometer, they have an LCD display there where you are able to see the wind speed. So there will also be a line that spin in the direction of wind, which shows the direction of wind. So we get to know the wind is moving in which direction. So that will help us to predict that, okay, the wind, if we feel that wind speed is very high and it is moving in a specific direction for a past couple of days, that might have given the idea that where it can go in the future days. Okay, so that ways these device can help us. Okay, so now what are the safety measures we do to keep ourselves protected from these which needed to be done when the cyclone or tornadoes are coming? So if we inform, so how the cyclone warning to be communicated? So if we warn everyone before that a cyclone might occur in this particular area, so people of that area will remain aware. They will do something so that they can save themselves. We can prepare ourselves to move to or migrate to a safer place, so that minimum harm can happen. So that's way the people can prepare themselves. Not only that, cyclone shelters to be created. Now what are cyclone shelters? Normally the houses and building constructed which are cyclone resistant. However, the cyclone resistance building can also be created. So these buildings have the power to withstand with the intensity of cyclone. So even if the cyclone is at a higher intensity, the building will be strong enough to withstand it. Okay, so these kind of shelters should be created in order to save the people from cyclone. and they are located very far away from the large trees or communication tower. They also should be located at far away from the coastline and also away from the storm area, storm where the storm is very frequent. Okay. But creation of cyclone shelter would be possible only when the warnings have been communicated before before it happened, because, so that the organization do have enough time so that they can create the cyclone shelters for people. Now, next thing is stay away from water. Because whichever area is hit by cyclone, that area is also being hit by the high tides of sea. So flood has already occurred there. So because of that, when I say flood, I say a huge amount of water would have entered that region, because of which the water would have been contaminated, and drinking water should be stored before you drink, so that the people do not consume the contaminated water and then fall ill. So that's one thing. Secondly, the water should be kept away from all kind of electric things, because if there is so much of water around, what happen is your open circuit might also get contact with the water, and it is not safe. Okay, because that can give electric shock, and it's even become fatal in that situation. So therefore, it is advisable that people should not necessarily come out of their houses and create a chaos. We should try to help each other. They should cooperate, and at the same time they should do things which are safe for themselves, and then try to save others. So this is all about this chapter. I hope I have covered all the important topics, even all the topics of this chapter, and I hope you all have understood this chapter very well. Still, if you have any confusion, you can ask me in your WhatsApp group. Thank you, class.